We are on a mission to save and revitalize independent pharmacy.
On the Catalyst Pharmacy podcast, you'll get actionable business advice.
Hear stories from industry leaders,
And share a laugh or two with us.
Fuel your passion for pharmacy.
one conversation at a time.
4,
3,
2,
1. Ignition.
Welcome to the Catalyst Pharmacy Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Key, president of PioneerRx, and today I'm here with Marsha.
Hello, my name is Marsha Bivins, and I'm the Director of Marketing for PioneerRx. Today we're here with Bruno Tching. He is the owner of Inland Pharmacy out of Hemet, California.
So tell us, let's just start off. We'll start off non-business. Tell us a little about your history. How did you get where you are today?
Okay, well, we could start from somewhat the very beginning, where had to decide what I was going to be out of high school. So I have just a little family history. I have an older sister and a younger brother. So the way that the middle child works is the middle child usually always never gets an option or a choice.
Okay.
Because the first one gets to do whatever they want. Well, this is my take on it as a middle child. First one gets to do whatever they want, and if they don't succeed, the second one does exactly what the parents want. Right?
Yeah.
So I had in my mind, okay, maybe oral surgeon, something like that.
Okay.
But no, only applied to one school, which was my dad's alma mater. So that's how I got in. Eventually, I grew to love it. The mix of business and pharmacy together, it's just right up. It's my cup of tea. I just love it.
Okay.
And then
let's back up a little bit earlier before we go forward. What about the Tahiti?
I read that interesting fact that you're originally from Tahiti, so
take us back to Tahiti.
All right. So my biological father passed away when I was little.
Okay.
My mom remarried, and we moved to California, Hemet, California.
So how old were you?
I think I was maybe 4.
Okay.
3 or 4, pretty young.
So not really from Tahiti, but cool to say you're from Tahiti? You don't remember a lot about Tahiti?
I used to go back every summer.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of my relatives are still there. So
what's cool about Tahiti? So you went back there every summer as a kid. Maybe that was back in the day. You still got before we got hover parents and you got to run around and do stuff. What did you enjoy about Tahiti?
Ooh, I think what I recall the best is the French pastries.
French pastries,
really?
French pastries, because it's French Polynesia, right? So it's a French colony. So I used to love these strawberry fruit tarts. Oh. Like my relatives, the morning that I would arrive or the evening I would arrive, the next morning, strawberry fruit tarts, because they knew they were my favorite, right? And then Napoleons, and I just love. I have a sweet tooth, so I love French pastry. And then the coffee, I remember any coffee that's not from the U.S. seems to taste better for some reason. So I love the pastry, I love the coffee.
I think you and my husband would agree on that statement. Any coffee that's not from the U.S. is going to taste better. I just
that's all I really remember. The last time I went was, it's been at least I want to say 10 years since I've been.
Any of the scuba or surfing or any of that kind of snorkeling?
Well, oddly enough, I really don't like water that much.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say, you're asking.
I do like snorkeling, but I just never got around to surfing. I just didn't really like water. It's I think maybe a traumatic experience as a child. I don't remember what it was. I think I know what it was. I was deathly afraid of eels.
Okay.
Eels. Okay.
And there were eels everywhere. So I just didn't want to get in the water at that point as a kid. So.
We have a guy who works here who's worked with me for quite a long time named Paul Carrig, and he's from Ireland. And one of the things he talked about a lot when he first started working together is that he was from an island and he didn't swim and he didn't like fish. Now, today, and I don't know why, he ended up going on a vacation to Hawaii and he took the plunge and he learned how to swim and he learned how to scuba and he's eating fish now. So he's migrated along, but that was always a big joke. Was I'm from an island and I don't swim and I don't like fish. So you like fish?
I do. I love sushi.
Yeah. I bet you get a lot of good sushi in California.
There's some good restaurants. Yeah.
All right. So Tahiti. Then you went to high school in California. Where in California?
Hemet. So Southern California.
Okay. South.
So the biggest cities around this area are probably going to be Riverside and Palm Springs.
Okay. So south.
Yeah.
And then you went to college, private school, right?
Went to University of the Pacific in Stockton.
Yeah. And so, so you graduated from college. Oh, so did you enroll in college to be a pharmacist?
Yes. So I did the 5-year program, 2-year undergrad, 3-year year-round.
What made you mentioned that you initially wanted to do oral surgery. What made you switch from oral surgery to pharmacology?
Parents.
Now that was because your older sister decided not to be a pharmacist?
Well, that's my theory. My theory.
Okay.
Yeah. I think she changed her majors a few times, and then they said, "Okay, no, you're going to pharmacy school."
What does your sister do today?
She's a teacher, so she made it. Yeah,
a very honorable profession.
Yes.
Did the younger sibling get a choice, or?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, after the second one is successful, the third one can do whatever they want.
Oh, because that's so that's an example of raising kids.
You need one successful one that you're going to count on.
You're hard on the first one
to take care of
and then the second one you get easier on because you forget what it took to make the first one good.
Well,
you're like, oh yeah, that turned out good.
He said that the oldest one got it easy. He got it hard.
Yeah, the oldest one too. Yeah. The oldest one gets it easy. The middle one gets the grunt, and the youngest one gets it easy.
Yeah, interesting. I just had 2, so I had 2 very different children, of course. All right, so we went to PharmD school. We were super smart, so we did the 5-year program, worked really hard. What did you do after you got out?
So initially after getting out, I worked a little with my dad and then decided to move to Orange County. And then I worked retail out there for a little while. I worked for Save-On, Albertsons, and then eventually went to Walgreens for a little bit. And then my dad convinced me to come back and manage the pharmacy because he wanted to retire.
So the pharmacy you're in was your dad's pharmacy?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yep.
That's very cool. Now, was his dad a pharmacist?
No.
Okay. So he was the first generation pharmacist?
So I'm second generation pharmacist. Yeah.
Is he still around?
He's still around, mainly traveling.
Okay. He didn't come in the pharmacy and tell you what you're doing wrong?
Oh, all the time.
All the time.
but my mom is here.
Okay.
And she does a lot of that. So
that's great.
So your mom's still working in the pharmacy?
She does help a lot as like in a clerk. Clerk role. Yeah.
Nice.
So
I hope I get a chance to meet them one day. What city is Inland in?
Hemet.
How far are you from Temecula?
45 minutes.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. One of my favorite vineyards.
There's an angle. We'll go see Bruno and visit Temecula.
And then
come on by.
Do you like wine?
I do. I used to drink a lot of red. Only.
Okay.
Yeah,
but I've cut back significantly, virtually nothing. So
yeah, I drank moderately, and then COVID happened, and I revenge drank. And revenge ate, and now I'm back to normal.
I think you and Helen and Mark combined funded the liquor store.
I think there was too much excesses during COVID there. All right, so that was 2003. So when did you actually get to take over the pharmacy?
So I think the moment I came back, I kind of started, wielding everything, in the direction that I wanted it to go. And at that time, we were still focused on retail. So I was focused on efficiencies, right? Some things were not operating as well. I wanted to streamline things and make it, work smarter, not harder. So I think that it's at that point that I started Sync.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. We have some cool stuff coming out in Sync that's in beta right now at Bob's store. So you should be looking for that probably in the next. We're probably going to release January. It around the Weekend with Pioneer
in Montana.
It's going to happen in Montana.
Mm-hmm. So about the second week in January.
but it's going to allow you to message the patient for those patients who don't want to call. So it'll message them and say, hey, we've started your regular meds. Click here to complete it. And then the first screen is going to ask them, hey, here's the stuff you normally get. Uncheck anything you don't want. The next screen says, here's some things you get sometimes. Check the ones you want. And here's some OTCs maybe recommended by the pharmacist. Do you want any of these? Are you going to the doctor between now and blank date, which is your sync date? And then once they walk through that 5 screens, it sends that data to the pharmacy, and it has it right there in the sync area. And then you can update everything. And if you see something alarming, give them a call.
Great. Yeah.
So it allows people who don't want to be called to still feel like they have some control. And so we're seeing a really good adoption by patients in Bob's Pharmacy. So, and you can see future things where you have a monthly thing you update, like smoking use, or maybe ask them the 3 questions that lead you for depression, that says, hey, if they answer these 3 questions this way, you're going to do a follow-up, a more deeper analysis. So lots of neat things that you can do there. So
maybe they can incorporate later when it's like flu season to check a box here or schedule an appointment, or that'd be awesome.
So what's going on in your pharmacy? Tell me what are you excited about today?
Well, there's a ton of stuff going on that we're trying to build infrastructure for, and things that we have built infrastructure for already. But I think, as everyone is focused on shifting to clinical, I think COVID is still kind of like this behemoth that's like taking all our attention away from the things that we ought to be doing at the same time. So our state is making some big changes. California, they're switching a lot of the managed care to fee-for-service. So a lot of it's going back to straight Medi-Cal fee-for-service.
Okay.
So that's going to create some headache maybe for the first couple months in California as we transition, all the patients to fee-for-service Medi-Cal. But that also, I feel like that opens some opportunity, because the managed care is still in charge of their overall health. Right? It's just the prescriptions they're no longer managing. So there's going to be a lot of synergies with managed care, I think, next year. And there's already some going on right now. Like I'm in a pilot program with one of the major MCOs in our area to manage. Currently, the target is asthma, COPD, and we do what's called comprehensive medication management. So it's like a full-on holistic approach to the patient, not only addressing their asthma, but also any other disease states that they may have. And the goal is to reduce hospitalizations and ER visits. So I think that's like, it's standard what most plans want. They want to reduce costs and improve patient care.
So the people that you're piloting this with, is it a per member per month? Is it a some kind of fee for service?
So it is initially the way that it works is appointment based.
Okay.
So we get paid for appointments up to a certain amount, and then at the end of the measurement period, if we were able to reduce their utilization score, then we get paid a bonus to do that. So it's pretty interesting. They're starting out small, and that's why it's still a pilot, and to see if it's something that they can do on a larger scale. But it does require it does require the proper staff, the proper workflow, because you're doing all medical billing type activities. It's not prescription filling. But there are some synergies too. So, for instance, if you have a collaborative practice agreement and that patient happens to be one of those prescribers' patients, then you can make adjustments, add drugs that are missing, and tailor the patient drug therapy appropriately. So it's a win-win. It also helps with sync, also helps identify patients that should be on, certain types of emergency meds that they're not on, or if they need, like some kind of patient education, aero chambers, or if they need to be trained on how to use a peak flow meter. There's a variety of different services that can be attached to it.
Was this a part of CPSN? Or was this?
This was another program that was the brainchild of USC and LA Care and IHP. It's called the California Right Meds Collaborative.
Okay.
So it's just they wanted a holistic approach to taking care of patients, and they wanted to try that out.
How long is that, the pilot period?
We've been, I think we've been doing this current pilot for over almost a year. And then what they'll do is they'll switch to another disease state focus every year, and then bring on additional pharmacies. So that's the goal, is to expand.
Huh.
You know.
How is so you've been doing it a year? How's the success been?
Right now, initially it was pretty good because we did have a few patients, but what we're finding out is, I guess the patients in our area are pretty well managed, because what they do is they filter down the data, and they look for those high risk patients. And my store didn't have very many of them, so they're reaching out to the existing. They're reaching out the radius,
okay,
so that it encompasses more patients. So
are they reaching out and
goes.
trying to get people to switch to your pharmacy to be under this program?
Well, that's not the goal of the program. It's more we can manage these patients if they're not ours as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So the ones they're finding, you're managing them, but they're not necessarily switching their prescriptions to you.
Right. So we haven't had we've had small handful of those type of patients. It's just the pool of patients is not that huge. Initially, they target patients based on what they call the RUB score, and that's the utilization band score, cost score. And apparently in our area, or my pharmacy, we've managed our patients well enough that they don't have high scores. So they have to reach out and find patients that have high scores that are going to different pharmacies, or that are within the vicinity. So because the idea is also face-to-face is an important aspect of this.
Yep. Yeah, it's interesting. One of the challenges there of being a better pharmacy is that you don't have as much improvement to try to sell somebody on. Why should I pay you for this? You're already doing it and doing a great job. Well, you have to pay me for it, because if I leave, the next guy's not going to do a great job, right? You've got to invest in me you've got to realize I'm doing this, and those guys down the street who are selling beauty products, they're not going to do it. And, that's a sell. It's a challenging one. So what else is going on? So we're doing this pilot program.
So along the same lines, that the clinical switch is what we're looking for. The state has now opened what they call their pharmacy MTM program, and that allows us to medically bill, to manage high risk patients, patients that are on expensive, complex medication therapy, multiple disease states, and that also has the same similar workflow as doing CMM and some of these other activities that that we engage in already. But now it'll be a billable activity.
Okay, and that's Medicaid?
That's Medicaid, state Medicaid. Yeah, so we're transitioning pretty well, and the for Medicaid, it's actually very broad, the criteria for the ability for us to bill for that. So I feel like if you haven't already been participating in transformation projects like Flip the Pharmacy, or to get ready for these clinical services, there's no way that you're going to be able to do MTM. It's just, it takes so much out of workflow. You need, you have to pull someone out to do it. And then if you haven't been doing vaccinations, or haven't been using some kind of scheduling platform, a lot of these are schedule-based or appointment-based type activities. So that's why it's important. You have to learn how to do it before you actually start doing it.
What are you using for scheduling?
So we use Acuity for different types of scheduling. We also use the state's vaccine platform, MyTurn, to do scheduling for vaccines. So like services like flu shots and testing and things like that will filter through Acuity.
What would you so some of these things like, hey, I should be trying to do Flip the Pharmacy. What would you say to somebody in California who's not in CPSN?
I think you need to join CPSN. I think you need to, we're a group of like-minded pharmacies that are focused on, clinical to step outside of the box and do something other than filling. And I think that it's important to be part of this group and think, because my motto has always been, there's no way that I myself can manage a plan that has 1 million lives. It's just impossible, right?
Yep.
We have to work as a group, and you have to start thinking, togetherness instead of independentness. You got to think consolidated, because large companies, they don't want to deal with individual companies and contract with individual companies. Mm-hmm. They would rather do a single sign-on, single contract with a large clinical network, right?
Yeah,
just makes more sense cost-wise.
Has it been growing? Has CPSN California been growing?
We have been growing, yes. We still need a ton of pharmacies to make what we call network adequacy.
Okay.
But California, it's a very hard market. Everyone is still very focused on themselves.
Right.
I was guilty of it for a long, long, long time. Until, the realization came there's no way I can do this by myself. I need to start sharing information. I need to, start educating people, because, but another saying is, rising tide lifts all boats.
Yep.
So
what was it that made you get to that point that said, hey, I need to be on CPSN and I need to be doing MedSync?
So a long time ago, I attended, I think it was at a ThoughtSpot, and I saw the presentation, and I saw that it was being done. It was in my head already. I was like, we need to do more clinical. We got to do something clinical, because that's where the future is. The reimbursement is horrible, right? And it's not getting any better. And the DRE fees are getting higher every year. It's like, we need to take ourselves out of that. So when I saw it, it was instant click. Like, do we have that for California? And why haven't I heard of it? And we hadn't had it in California yet.
So you were member number what in California, CPSN?
Onboarded.
Number one. I believe that.
I don't know. There was maybe 2 or 3 of us, and we were all
Came on the
boom.
same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So besides helping other pharmacists and answering their questions about how to make what do you do for fun?
What's your outside passion? Outside of pharmacy, what's your passion?
So
you've got kids.
I'm a closet gamer.
Gamer.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I am a closet. I'll game anything.
Anything. So
anything.
Are you PC or?
I used to PC a lot, but for some reason I stopped for a while, and then I tried it just to see what it was like, and I was like dizzy.
Oh really?
The motion it killed me.
Okay.
So I've been tablet gaming a lot. I also I enjoy games like old school games like Tetris and Dr. Mario. Those kind of fitting pieces together and clearing things. It's just.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Yoshi's
I'm
Cookie.
mesmerized.
Well, and that's a kind of those kind of games are unwinding. You like that kind of,
I love the puzzle games where you get to kind of connect. And there was one game, Yoshi's Cookie, that I dominated anybody that played with me. That was my game.
Cookie.
Yoshi's Cookie.
It was like iPhone games. You play like phone games.
He said tablet games.
Tablet games.
Tablet game. Well, I kind of really enjoy the shoot 'em up games, first person.
Okay.
Shoot 'em up.
What are you playing right now? What did you play this week?
PUBG Mobile.
PUBG Mobile. Okay.
Yes.
So check that out.
Yep.
Yeah.
What is it? It's a shoot 'em up game, but what?
It's just it's similar. Let's see. Where there are some other. It's kind of like it's.
Is it like a tower defense type?
No, it's see, what are some other popular games that would be similar?
Like first-person shooter, like Doom?
Like Modern Warfare. Have you ever seen that?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Like Rainbow Six or
okay.
those type of games.
Okay.
Yeah. Your daughter's good at the little first-person shooters.
Yeah, she is.
She loves to get a grappling hook.
She's scary good.
She's really good at the grappling hook.
But Mark's had her playing games like that since she was 4, like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
We're great
Call
parents.
of Duty.
Yeah, I'm more of
play that a lot.
I'm more of a strategy like
Build
Civilization or
I love those games too.
Or
but they take too much time.
Build a village and
go to somebody else's village.
Go over time. Yeah. The whole
Age of Empires.
Yep. I love Age of Empires. Yep. Oh, I love StarCraft.
Warcraft.
Yeah. Where your technology grows and your city grows.
Although Mackie and Cohen's latest games creep me out. There's one where she's walking around in the dark with a flashlight, and there's like a ghost that's trying to capture them, and you're trying to avoid the ghost. And then the second one that they play together, you're on a team of 4, and you're trying to activate all these lights while there's a serial killer trying to capture and kill you.
Yeah, no wonder our kids are messed up.
Actually, I think I played that game. It's off a tablet too, right?
Yeah, I think there's a tablet version.
Yeah, I think there's a tablet version, but Mark and the kids will be on PC and Mark plays on Xbox with them, and they're just sitting there yelling at each other, going, "He's got me! He's got me! All right, let me get this light, and I'll come grab you." And it's very violent. Like the killer grabs you and throws you on like a grappling hook.
But I think that's families working together. I remember.
I just wish it'd be a less violent way.
When my kids were little, probably your kid's age.
Okay.
We all had computers in this room above the garage.
Yeah, but y'all weren't playing serial killer games.
No, but we were playing Baldur's Gate and things like where we were all, people, and we were exploring dungeons, and the monsters would come out. We're yelling at each other, why do you do this? You do this, you do that. And
so you've got kids, obviously. Tell us about your kids.
So I got a junior in high school and a freshman in college.
I have a junior in high school also. She's my oldest.
So boys,
both girls.
Oh, both girls.
Yep. So do they game with dad?
Well, they don't.
They don't.
Because dad was too competitive, so they stopped.
They stopped playing with dad.
But they enjoy similar games. I think Minecraft is what they enjoy.
Yeah. Minecraft is my youngest.
Play that quite a bit.
Yeah.
My son played Minecraft.
I dabbed in it a little, guilty.
Yeah, it's just amazing the whole build it. Her son Cohen, he'll just build and hey, Mr. Jeff, look what I built. I built this. Look how this lever does this. Yeah. And just this mindset of this creation of just spending all this time building these worlds than to play in. It's just so I think there's a positive, not the serial killer model, but there's some positives pieces in the whole technology gaming. And
you missed the piece where the little demons, what are the little green guys that come up on
creepers?
Yeah, the creepers show up, and then he's got to kill them. You're missing that piece.
It's okay. He still built a world.
There are a lot of elements, though, which are quite interesting, programming type elements within the game.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, that's how I got into computers. My friend's parents bought him a TRX 80, which is one of the first computers, right? Uh-huh. And I was going to build a game. And so I spent hours on his computer. I don't know if he picked up much on it. He ended up going into nuclear power and becoming a doctor. But
so the two girls. So you've got one in college. What is she going to school for?
Right now, she is on the medicine track.
So was the medical track her idea, or was this your idea?
I think it was her idea.
Okay.
We let her do whatever she wanted.
And then what does the youngest want to do?
No idea yet.
No idea?
Yeah, my son was on the probably medical track, and he ended up being a chemical engineer. So everybody talked him out of it.
I remember when he was like junior high or high school, you said he's going to clown college.
No, I said he's going to join the circus.
The circus, yeah.
Yeah, my an interesting first child, second child. We didn't have a middle child, but my daughter wanted to do what dad did, right? So daughter's computer scientist. She works for me. The son wanted to be like, hey, Dad, what did you not like? Right? And I was like, I really didn't like chemistry. So, okay. Note to self. So he loves chemistry, became a chemical engineer. So, but there was a day, he's a kind of wandering spirit. Like, yeah, there was for years when people would ask, well, what's Kyle going to do? Oh, he's going to join the circus. He's kids. Find something to rebel in. What is what do they enjoy? Any sports, any things like that?
They're book readers. so they enjoy that. They do music. They're wonderful singers. So they also both play piano, and they started with strings early on, but they stopped that, just too much time.
String being violin or harp?
Violin and cello.
Cello.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Okay.
I love the violin. I would love the way it sounds. But I always worry you'd have problems with your neck doing that a lot. You're like,
yeah.
And the high frequency pitch is not good either.
Oh, not good for your ears? Huh. Didn't think about that being right there.
Yeah. But I mean, I imagine most that start in that they're at a younger age and they kind of build that muscle.
So do you sing?
Handle it.
I'd like to think that I can, but the reality is no, not
y'all don't
well
have like
all.
family singing where y'all all gather around the piano and sing together?
I'm not as coordinated as my kids are, so I play the piano, but I can't play and sing.
Okay, I was going to ask, do you play an instrument?
And I can't do I can do melody. I cannot do harmony.
Yeah.
So there's no way that I can play and sing at the same time.
So, okay, going back to pharmacy, your pharmacy practice. So why, I mean, other than, the basic answers of why technology is essential, what would you say as far as why is technology been essential for you in your practice?
Or what pieces? What are some of the pieces? You said acuity.
Sure. Okay. So first of all, probably to have a good understanding of my MO, the way I operate. Again, the way that I operate is work smart, not hard.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So over the course of years, I've developed some knowledge in some basic things like, PDF creation, like working with Adobe Acrobat, because forms back then, prior to online type forms, were like essential and crucial, right? You had repetitive tasks that you had to do. Okay. The best thing was to create a form. And then, so that I think was like the single most defining change that was not like a technology type. Well, it is technology, but it's not like robots, right?
Right.
So that changed a lot of the workflow in the pharmacy. Then, the introduction to like filling machine, like I started with the Parata Mini.
Okay.
And then, that worked out great. So I got a second one.
So is the Mini the one that you hold the bottle up to?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we did that because it you can control what's coming out, right?
Yep.
And then, so we loved it. We loved it. And then it got to the point where, hey, people are missing. We need someone to go and actually retrieve them. And so we switched over to the Max 2. So it's been great because that, it caps, it labels, and it's ready to go. And then, actually, before we got that, we also had icons. Icons were essential too.
Okay.
Some kind of counting device.
You said you had icons. Do you still have icons?
We still have.
Okay.
We still have. I have 2 icons. Yeah. Those are essential too because, you have stuff that can't go through the robot. And so it's very important to have those. And then it tracks them, it numbers them. So we loved our icons. We still use them daily. So those are the 2 like robot pieces.
Did you keep the minis when you got the Max?
I got rid of the minis.
Okay.
Yeah. Cause the Max was it overkilled both minis,
Right.
The 2 minis were doing a lot. Yeah. The Max just takes it to another level.
Well, yeah, the Mac, he said that with the minis, you need people. And the Max, it is a person.
Is that the Max that has the camera in it that takes a picture from the top of the pills?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The capacity, it almost doubled my capacity of what I could stick in the robot.
Huh.
Yeah. So we have a lot of stuff coming out of there that counts and it's ready to go. It helps with workflow significantly.
Yep.
You just have to be at the right volume, I think, to make that good.
What are you doing for adherence packaging?
Right now, we are using 2 types of packing. We use the Dispill bubble packing, and then we use the traditional bubble packing, blister packing for single dose type packing.
Single blister. So it's all manual.
Like single blister. Yeah.
Yeah.
We do multi-pack or put multiple drugs in, just like we do with the Dispill as well with those. But those are a little slightly complicated. Patients kind of prefer, some patients prefer those over individually packed drugs. And then I contemplated pouching, but again, that that requires personnel.
Right.
Unless that can be automated. That's, the bubble packing requires personnel too, but it's a lot quicker to do, than the pouching.
Do you do anything that assists you in the building your multi-dose packs?
No. Yeah.
So just
no technology to do that. And we don't do a high volume
right.
of that. And a lot of it is like, some of it's repeat type medications that we could technically, if we wanted to, get some packing equipment. But I think we're not at that point
where you're doing enough of it.
Where we're doing enough of it to substantiate the purchase. So,
what percentage of your patients are on sync?
The majority, 90 plus probably.
Wow.
The goal is to put they get on sync, but to stay on sync is a different story because now we have several variables. The doctor's refills, non-compliance. So there's a lot of variables that throw those off. If they're on controlled medications that don't have refills, then you got to sync to the controls.
Yep.
So it's not a walk in the park, and we still like to call our patients.
Yep.
Because we gather other information on those calls, metrics or vitals, how's your blood pressure been, what's your last reading, those kind of questions.
So what's your enrollment trick for getting a patient?
Auto enroll.
We're going to call, so what we do is we really use a modified version of the sync. We use the sync call version.
Okay.
So we tailor everything based off of that call. I haven't jumped into fully utilizing, the full sync model through Pioneer.
Oh, now we have to go see him.
Yeah. So we're using just the call, the sync call feature. So we use that to call.
You're not using the queues. You're just calling it, kicking it right into data entry from the call.
So from the call, we set it to future fill, or if there's refills that we need, sent to future refill requests. And that's how we operate. And we really like that touch with the patient. We really need to touch that patient.
Well, that model has a touch in it.
Yeah. So in the model, have you assigned pharmacy techs as caregivers to certain patients? So like every time I get a call from your pharmacy, I know it's Amy, and I come in and I look for Amy.
Yeah, the health coach concept.
We don't do that. And the reason we don't do that is because we don't know who's going to be in on any given day. So, that's the problem of COVID right now, right? It's like, ever since that hit, it's like, why aren't you coming to work? What's going on?
But y'all enroll them. You mark them as enrolled in sync and use the date in there so you can manage your short fills properly.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, very interesting. I'll have to explore that more offline to really understand. We probably should go see him, really try to figure out what the workflow is and see what we're if you're not using it, there's something that we're missing. So, trying to figure out what
that is.
Honestly, it's just like any software. I was afraid of not having what I needed, to do what I wanted to do.
Right.
So I haven't fully investigated all the updates and things that you guys have done to the sync program, to be fair. But just we have been set in our ways right now to do it the way they're doing it. So because it's not broken, we don't want to try to fix it yet.
Yeah, that's it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to try to see, what we would look for there is to see what the artifacts are there, what stuff they're writing down. They got to be writing down something somewhere. So, what's being kept on paper, and so that'd be interesting. We'll have to do that. Give an excuse to go buy Temecula.
So where do you see independent pharmacy going in the next 5 to 10 years?
I'll definitely see a hybrid pharmacy. Hopefully, I think what the trend I'm seeing is owners are finally realizing, hey, we need a clinical pharmacist.
Right.
Someone on staff just to do clinical work. And I think it's a growing trend now. And so hopefully that's where we're at in 5 years. We're doing a lot more medical billing and working in collaboration with plans and prescribers, kind of like an ACO model, but not an ACO model, right? So some type of integration where it's mutually beneficial for everyone is is the way that I think it's going.
What do you think about the COVID pills?
That should be interesting. There's a lot of conspiracy talk.
Okay.
but
let's pretend that chip that pill doesn't have a chip in it or something. So.
Yes. So the distribution model right now, I think it's pretty much it's going to be state controlled. I guess local jurisdiction controlled. I know that there's going to be some federal pharmacy partners that are going to sign. I know that CPSN has signed to be a partner.
Nice.
But we don't have too many details. I did see an article recently about something about the Pfizer being 90% effective or something.
I think the one I saw this morning was 85% effective against serious hospitalization. So that's pretty strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So distribution wise, we'll see how that works out under the EUA.
Do you think it'll be pharmacist prescribed in California?
I think it probably will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I
that
think
would be the ideal.
What I'd like. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, she said that would be ideal.
That would be ideal.
Yeah.
That's the ideal.
This is what I was going to mention. I mean, it's incredible if you think about a healthcare emergency in pharmacies. We can test, we can vaccinate, and we can treat. I mean, where can you do all three? Really, it's no one is quite as nimble as independent pharmacy.
Yep.
You need something set up. You need a contract. You talk to the owner. Boom, done. Right? It's nimble, fast, effective, and I think that health departments are starting to recognize how quick we can get things up and running.
Yeah, and what we hope is that CPSN, because historically the one guy's nimble, but working with 1,000 of the one guys isn't nimble, right? So hopefully what CPSN brings to the table is expanding that nimbleness of the one guy to the nimbleness of the blah 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 to the 1,000. So
it's like not having to reinvent the wheel is exactly what CPSN is all about. I don't have to come up with the way to do it. Well, I could, and then I could share the best practice, and then we can just make it. It's continuous quality improvement, making things work better, faster, and more efficient. As a group.
So when do you think the pill will be in the pharmacies?
Boy.
Because it has FDA approval, right?
The rate that it's going right now, I don't think it's going to be that quick. I think we're still looking at least 2-3 weeks. I just don't see it progressing as fast as it should be.
Well, 2 to 3 weeks to me is fast. Yeah. I mean, compared to you say maybe it's summer. So you think they have the supplies?
The supply is going to definitely be an issue.
Yeah.
Right? That's why they have to regulate with the state. The state's going to have to regulate them. I mean, look at monoclonals. They have to regulate that like crazy. I mean, I was signed up to get some. I still haven't got any.
Yeah. So, a lot of pharmacists really aren't, the concept of having somebody who, has COVID come into your pharmacy, right? And to have to be there for, what is it, an hour?
Hour.
Yeah. And watch them. And if they have an event, have to give them mouth to mouth or some type of resuscitation. A lot of pharmacies are like, I'm not
doing that.
You got to collect vitals too. That's part of the clinical monitoring, right?
So
blood pressure, probably, oxygen saturation. So.
Yeah. So you can deliver the pill or give them the pill out the drive-through window or still maintain. So I think the pill is going to go over much more effectively than the.
Yes. Yeah. Versus four shots subcutaneous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you'll see that quickly. Wouldn't want to be that company. I think you'll quickly if it's 85% effective, I think you'll quickly see that go away. But if the pill's effective, that could end the pandemic because, hey, I've got a treatment. I got a treatment that works. Doesn't matter if a bunch of people get it. They just get treated and we roll on. And hopefully it won't be political not to take the pill, so.
Yeah, the vaccine's already been political, and it's just been frustrating.
Political enough.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, the monoclonals have had good response rate from those that don't want to be vaccinated. They're like, I'll take the monoclonal.
Yeah.
Like, huh? That's weird.
Yeah. That's more experimental probably than the vaccine is. Yeah. somewhere along the line, the vaccines got politicized.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll see an end to all that. So what do you ever think about buying another pharmacy, having more than one?
No, the thought had crossed my mind for like a second. But there's just so much to do at one pharmacy, and there's so much that's untapped.
Yeah.
And,
nice. I love to hear that.
To have multiple pharmacies, unless you're, you have to have a specific mindset, I'm reasonably happy with 80% of efficiency at all stores, right? It's kind of like you have to have that kind of mind. Like, are you able to, have these stores and not micromanage? Because if you're going to micromanage, you're going to kill yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have an acceptable percentage of inefficiency at each store. And it's just not me. I need it to be running.
Yeah, you need it to be running
efficiently.
Well. Yeah. Well, as long as you have lots of untapped potential in your existing pharmacy, hey, and you seem to be loving what you're doing and making good progress. I like sticking with the one kind of concept. So.
Yeah. So my staff, though, we keep adding things, and there's just so much going on. You have to be pretty well trained to work here, I think.
Yeah.
So
are you having trouble with staff? Are you having trouble hiring people, keeping people?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So at one point it was, hire whoever comes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's how it used to be.
Wow.
And now I figured I've learned something, and it's sometimes it's best to hire outside, not outside of pharmacy, for instance, like someone that's really good at retail, right?
Mm-hmm.
Really good at customer service, and they have the learning capacity to learn something new, right? I think that's the best way. You start them off as clerks, and then you train them to be technicians. So I have some clerks that I've trained to become technicians, and so they're completing they've completed their coursework. Now we're waiting to turn in their applications to become technicians.
Nice. I think that's great advice. So, just reaching outside of the profession and trying to, hire people and bring them up.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that we, I guess we kind of went opposite. When we looked at the model of support, we decided it was easier to teach a pharmacy tech PioneerRx software than teach somebody it was easier to teach a pharmacy tech how to do customer service than it was to take a customer service person and teach them pharmacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the other way, but the same kind of thinking, I think.
Yeah.
Thinking outside of the box of what normal people would do. Just go hire somebody who's used to doing customer support. Well, no, we're going to hire somebody who's used to working in a pharmacy and then teach them how to do software support. So.
Yeah. So I think the problem with hiring outside in pharmacy is you were an old dog doing old tricks, right? So you had bad habits. You come in with bad habits. Your work ethic is different. So that's why we try to homegrown them. Homegrown. So that was the idea behind that. And it takes a while to learn drugs, learn insurance billing. But like anything, it's repetition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You just keep doing it over and over and over and over again until it becomes second nature.
Yeah. Very cool.
Well, Mark was definitely jealous that I got this podcast with you today, and it's definitely been enjoyable to get to know you, because I think I'm the only person out of the podcast group that has never met you. So I've definitely learned a lot, and definitely enjoyable. I look forward to meeting you in person.
Yeah, and I say this multiple times, just wanted to thank you for all you do. I was telling you, every time I look around, I see your name somewhere helping somebody, answering somebody's question on a forum or answering somebody's question in an idea. And, that doesn't directly benefit you, that you're doing that because you care about people and care about your profession and making things successful. And I think that's not only honorable, but I think it's probably a key piece of your success. It's just that you probably have that same feeling for your patients and for your employees and
just an all-around passionate person.
And I do learn a lot from everyone else too. So it's a two-way street. So that's it's like just share your knowledge, give a little back, and then maybe that person knows something that they can teach you.
Yep.
So I'm going to throw in one last little question here. So who in the pharmacy industry would you say is most influential to you?
Who in the pharmacy industry?
Or maybe you have some other people in CPSN.
Yep.
Yeah, actually, that's what we do. We do chat a lot on CPSN California. So we shoot ideas and stuff like that.
Yeah, so that's your crew is your CPSN California
your CPSN
crew.
group.
That's
okay.
where you.
And I would say definitely yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, Bruno, it's been fun.
Likewise.
If I don't talk to you before, have a great holiday and a happy new year, and look forward to all the things next year will bring us.
Thank you for watching the Catalyst Pharmacy Podcast.
If you enjoyed today's episode,
please like, subscribe, and follow us wherever you get your podcast.
Give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts to help us reach more pharmacy professionals like you.